Hey, welcome to Car Guy Confessions, brought to you by ARP. I'm Jeff Smith. This is my car buddy Cam Benty and car builder Steve Strope, and we're going to tell you some stories. All right. Welcome to another episode of Car Guy Confessions with Jeff Smith, brought to you by our friends at arp-bolts.com. And as you can tell, maybe you can, maybe you can't. We're in a new, now not undisclosed location. We're at the Grand National Show right here.
We're in a new gerbil cage.
Exactly. We're actually live on the floor. So instead of being in a cubby hole like we were before, which was fine.
We're still in a corner.
That's okay. That's
now
okay.
we're going to be bothered by people.
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Well, today should be okay because Friday's usually the slowest day of the three.
Tomorrow will be crazy.
Tomorrow will be.
So you know what this reminds me of, Steve?
Well, you have to introduce.
The time we went to Costco.
Steve Strope at ARP-Strope. No, that's not him.
What?
No, Steve Strope.
Hi.
Steve Strope.
I am.
Cam Benty.
There we go. We've been introduced
just in
now.
case.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
very good.
Well, they know.
For first-time viewers.
These are first-time
viewers.
people. They know things.
You just never know.
So you know what this reminds me of, though? This reminds me, remember when we did Carcraft Radio? On the second floor at the Peterson Museum. And we were off of this little cubby hole. But it was open.
And
we
get
were right
Mrs. Jones' third grade class.
Yes, because we were right next to the Batmobile.
That's right. We were
so
next to the Batmobile.
it wasn't video. It was just audio because it was Carcraft Radio.
Right. Yep.
But it was really, really fun. And every once in a while, the kids would go crazy.
And I'd say, okay, everyone say Carcraft rules. And there'd be all the kids going, Carcraft rules.
That was fun.
You and
that
I were on
was
the show
fun.
together.
Yes.
With him.
Yes.
I remember that
yes.
episode. Sure.
Yes.
That was a long time ago.
So and that was a fun time. That was a fun time. And we learned then how fast this goes by.
Oh, an hour. Yeah. I remember when I got the job to be the host of the show, and I went to Alan, who's he owns the whole thing. I said, I want to bring Doug Glad and Jeff Smith on the program with me because if it's Carcraft Radio, what better than the guys who are typing everything you read every month? So now you can hear them, hear it from their mouths, and I can allow Jeff extra time. Like, hey, that text story you did, want to embellish on that? We've got, because he only had 3 pages.
We only had 3 pages
in the book, so it really worked really well.
It did. It went very, very well.
It's called marketing of the publication.
Sure.
So,
but the first time we did it, it was you. Doug could have cared, but not laissez-faire. He wasn't worried about nothing.
He was busy.
You were like, "How are we going to talk for an hour?" And I'm like,
just wait.
You mean then, why don't we have more time?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
It goes so fast.
It went so fast. So and that's exactly the way it is here. You know, we've had a couple of guests that go, "I'm not sure we want to do this," and then all of a sudden it's like,
I don't have anything to talk about.
Right. and then they look at you at some point and go, "It's over."
Yeah, it's like, I'm half done.
That only works with Leonard Emanuelson. He's so nervous.
So, Lenny moved,
I know very much.
He's Tennessee.
He
Tennessee.
Moved not far from my cousin, who also lives within like 10 miles of Alabama.
No
He's
kidding.
in Tennessee. Yeah, exactly.
Really?
She has a goat farm, so I don't know what the reason was that Lenny moved there. She literally has a goat farm.
Maybe she has GTOs too, is that?
Not that kind of goat.
Not that kind of goat. Okay.
That would be cool.
One of the very cool things about this show, it's very obvious.
Which show?
There's a lot. The Grand National
Roadster
Show.
Very good.
By the way,
Okay,
I just noticed because when you guys were talking, I noticed some people walk by. This is one of the shows open to the public that's not a product show like SEMA, that all the heavies are at.
Yeah.
As far as car builder goes, when you go to a big Good Guys event or an NSRA event, depending on the geography, is the builders from that area, unless it's like a super, super big one. But this show, over in the main building, Building 4, where my booth is, I got Scott Bernowski at Hot Rods and Hobbies. I've got Rad Rides by Troy.
Yeah.
I've got Brizio. I've got Hollywood Hot Rods. We've got Pinkies. We've got, I'm leaving out. It's like
a bunch of the heavyweights
every
are here.
heavy hitter.
It's
and that's just Building 4.
Yeah.
Then you go through all these other buildings. So
all the other people.
And what I noticed is I just saw Dan Webb walk by, who you people may not know who he is. Some of his stuff has been featured here and there. He does. I'm going to get this wrong, and we need to have him on. Do you know who Dan Webb is?
No, I don't.
He's Jack Webb's brother.
No. So a long time
Just
ago,
a fact,
he
man.
built this Tom Taylor drawn tee that had like a track nose, and it went to a wedge, and it had a super trick, like 4-cylinder, like midget car racer motor in it. It was
Okay.
all black with Dayton wire spokes on it. And Rider's Journal did a big thing on the car.
Okay.
It's from another planet. It's probably 20 years old now.
Okay.
If it showed up today, it would knock
It
over
would-
everybody again.
Yeah.
He does like when GM needs an engine cut in half for a display, he does that stuff.
That's art form in
So
itself.
when you go
That's
over
so
to building
impressive.
4 and you go all the way up to the stage, there's a polished
Yes.
chassis.
Yes.
That's Dan, and it melted your mind.
Oh my
it's
God!
not even a complete
we
car.
We got to post a couple of
He
photos
did
of
get
that
some
thing.
pictures of it.
It
Yeah,
is
we'll get
that
some
steering
pictures of it.
wheel.
That's him.
That's
Dan
We're gonna
Webb.
describe it. It's a giant steering wheel
He-
that's geared on the outside
That's
to
right.
the steering box.
Yep,
and
that's-
it's like and I noticed that the drive line drops down.
It's
like a
it's insane.
Oh, it is.
That's
It's-
Dan Webb.
It is. It's a track roadster basically.
He is
as if it was built in 26.
he is a
with what-
secret
All the
weapon.
right stuff.
Now
When that man shows up with a car,
Oh, my
put
goodness.
everything you got back on a trailer.
I mean,
he is
I-
incredible. Very humble.
Nice.
A genius of a guy.
Where's he based?
Uh,
You know?
I believe Midwest or over near Detroit.
Nice.
If I
Okay.
should know
Nice.
its answer, but I don't.
Yeah,
I'd love to. I'll go see if I can dredge him up and get him on the program.
that'd be great.
That would be
There was
fantastic.
a weird old race car called the Golden Submarine. It was like an enclosed. He did a
for
redo
Indy
of that.
for Indy.
Yeah,
back in the
he did
20s?
a redo of that. Yes,
Really? Yeah.
And he even makes his own in-out boxes, his own transmission.
That's what this has in it. It's got an in-out
yeah,
box.
that's his.
Wow.
He doesn't buy it.
Custom
He makes,
makes
it.
it.
We
He
need to
makes
get him
it.
on.
So
need
we
to
will
him
get
on.
him on. We'll show some
That
pictures.
thing, I mean, just
all of you get
just
out
the
there and
vision.
just Google up
just-
Dan Webb
right.
hot rods.
just
It's
the
like-
vision
it's
that
like
took to build it.
Oh no,
just
I don't
envision
touch
it.
this man.
But you have to envision this
Oh yeah,
before you
yeah,
can build
that's
it. and
fine.
this is
Yeah,
what
I
he's
have a
thinking.
cute imagination, but
That's right.
this man,
Wow.
That's right.
Yeah,
Very
that
talented.
was pretty impressive.
Right.
Yeah,
You
and
have a
then-
very cute imagination.
I think he said when I was walking by him, we saw each other during setup. He goes, I brought a dune buggy chassis. And I go,
Is he a soprano?
is it the thing? No, he's not. He's very quiet too. He's like,
All right.
I brought a dune buggy chassis up front.
Okay,
And I'm like,
very good.
and I saw a couple of sneak pics of it. And
Okay.
I'd be like, I go, the thing with the steering wheel. Dune buggy
Very
chassis.
cool. Well, one of the
Yeah.
things that we need to mention is, as you're saying, everybody's here.
Everyone's here.
Well, these guys have had 75 years.
That's right.
To figure it
Yeah.
out.
Well,
This is the 75th
That's
anniversary.
why
Yes.
everyone's
Of the Grand
here.
National.
And it's not just
Yes.
the anniversary. This is
This show pulls those
no,
people,
yes,
it does.
even
It's there.
Well, this show pulls global attendance.
yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
bet.
Oh yeah.
You bet.
But
Yeah.
I, on my own,
Right.
I'm not being paid for this in any way.
You're paying for it, though.
I am. This is my favorite non-product show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love coming to the show.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get here and set up
Yeah.
because then I see
Well,
all my friends.
I think you mentioned
thought of
bef-
more. Zane Collin from
Yeah.
Katati Speed
Yes.
Shop.
Who's going to be on our
Who
show?
will be, I
Who's gonna
mean,
be on our show.
it's just
Right.
the best of the best. Is
I think you
walking
mentioned
around.
before that, and plus the people that are here,
Yeah.
just the spectators, they're much more knowledgeable. They know what they're looking
Oh,
at.
there's a lot of car people here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, serious
yeah.
car people.
You bet.
Serious car
You
people.
bet.
And-
a lot of youngsters here.
Yep. A lot of, well,
Yeah. So that's why we're here, because all the hitters are here, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
it
This
kind of
is-
makes our job easier.
in the sales
a little
game,
way.
we would call this a target-rich environment.
You bet.
Wasn't that a line from
Write that
Top
down.
Gun?
Wait a second.
I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
line
it
from
was.
Top Gun.
It's been used a lot.
It's been used a lot.
It's been used
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yes, no.
Yeah.
So this show is, it's an awesome show. 75 years. We appreciate being here with John Buck and
Kevin Doyle.
Kevin Doyle.
We've got all that.
I have another
helped us
job
make-
while I'm here too. There's two big
You're a
awards.
judge.
Right. There's Amber, America's Most Beautiful Roadster.
Right.
Now, that is a biggie in our industry, without question.
You bet.
But it's a little strangling. It's 1948 or older, roadster only.
Right.
So that kind of limits
Yeah. It says
the
it in the
gene
name.
pool.
Says it in the name.
But
Yeah.
the Al Slonaker Award
That's open to
is
anything.
anything that's not a pre-48
That's
roadster.
not a
Which is
pre-40
great.
Okay.
Anything
great.
we want. We have so I'm one of the 5 judges of that. And I love it because we get, this year alone, I got a 35 Chevy. I can't remember Andy Leach's Pontiac, mid-30s. Unbelievable. There is a clean sheet of paper. All of it, including the body. It is a cut-down, looks like a cut-down Volkswagen thing.
Yeah.
Right.
On a
I need to see
tubular
that.
off-road chassis with a Porsche air-cooled 911 and Porsche 964 all-wheel drive drivetrain.
Wow.
And not only is it an engineering marvel, but every little bracket and clip has a purpose, and it's all nothing's offset. It's perfectly placed. It's a powder light blue, so nobody takes it serious. I can tell you right now.
Yeah,
you need to take it serious.
Just
It's
what
one
you've
of the nicest cars in the building.
Well, just the parts you've listed are pretty amazing.
But
So this way.
what?
Turn that.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. There we go.
Getting instruction from the gods.
The blue,
from
where did
beyond.
the blue come from? That's an interesting deal. Powder
They're
blue.
basing it off the Gulf Racing light blue.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. Well,
okay.
that's cool then.
Yeah.
So I got that. I've got a X tractor pull 2-engine
Oh, I saw that.
burnout
truck.
thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty wild.
Twin blown motors in it. Let's see. We've got
If anything, the tires were too small on that thing.
That's right. Did you when we
1,000 horse each.
Yeah.
When we had Troy on, did you say you'd been to the one in Oakland? Did you go to the Oakland Roadster Show? Before
When it
moved?
was up in Oakland, I actually went up when it was at the Cow Palace.
Yes, that was awesome. Did you go to that?
No, I never
Went to that.
No,
That was
no.
that was
did.
definitely a different flavor. It was completely different flavor.
That
from
was
here.
Gray's area.
Yes.
That was Gray's
Gray
area.
basketball
Absolutely,
area.
Gray
So
basketball.
yeah, we didn't have to worry about it because he had it covered.
Right?
But it was a different flavor because it was NorCal, and NorCal is different than SoCal.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
John Buck brought it down here
Right.
to much
Oh, I'm sure you got a lot of
slapback,
pushback.
feedback,
sure.
reverberation, and
Sure,
everything
yeah.
else.
It's like the
That
Oakland
was
Raiders.
how
Oakland
dare
Raiders
you
and-
take
yeah.
the Oakland Roadster Show?
Right.
Whoa. It's the Grand National Roadster Show.
Yeah.
Right.
But it got tagged
As
the
the Oakland
It
Roadster
sure
Because
Show.
it's
did.
easier to
I never
say.
heard it before
He
it was down
he
here.
brought
yes.
it down here 20 years ago, at least 20.
At least 20 years ago.
Yeah.
and did okay with it. I've been showing here for almost 20. The first car I brought here was the white NASCAR Charger I did for George Poteet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remembrance of
Yeah.
So there's news about that.
about
the Streamliner.
Oh, what's
They're
going
not,
on?
They're not going to take it back.
They're not going to take it back.
No, the family decided.
Well, that's not
to.
good news.
Well, no,
It would have been great.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I talked to Steve Watt last night, the crew chief.
Yeah.
And we're going to get him on the show. So because we need to.
Good.
It's such a great
yeah,
story.
that needs to come directly from the horse's mouth, so there's no
Right.
Right.
But that is some news that's relatively new. But there is going to be another car.
Was that
And-
just because of him
Yeah,
passing?
they're gonna put the car in the.
Is it going to Speedway in Lincoln?
Yeah, it could be. That would make sense.
Could be. I
that
hope
would
we're
make
not- I
sense.
hope we're not letting the
going
cats
to
out of the bag.
Speedway.
This is
Okay.
not live, so I guess we'll probably be okay. But
It's almost
Yeah,
live because
so
we're going to
I-
need the show.
I'm very involved with those guys. I have a display happening in that museum,
Yeah.
okay.
and so we'll skip my
And
thing.
we should tell anybody
But
who
they've got
doesn't know what we're talking about.
Oh, my goodness.
This Museum of American Speed,
Right.
the American Museum of
American
Speed?
Museum of Speed,
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
3 floors of
if-
mind-bending.
Oh my goodness!
Crazy, huh?
Yeah,
Life
they just
altering-
I have not
added
seen it.
100,000, 150,000 square
Yep,
foot
the,
thing. I have not seen it since they've added that on.
They just bought the Unser collection.
Yep.
Nice.
And
They have Spirit of America there,
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
so that's
which has been cut in half twice.
really. Well,
This
Steve
is
was
the Breedlove
involved.
deal,
I think
right.
Watt was involved with that as well, the restoration of that car as
Really?
well. Yes.
Interesting.
So
I didn't know that.
we got lots to talk about with him when we get him on the show.
Yes.
So look forward to that.
Otherwise known as
absolutely.
Biggie.
Yes.
Steve Watt's nickname is Biggie.
Yes. And
Small man, huh?
fantastic,
Yeah.
a fantastic fabricator.
Oh,
Yeah. Just I mean,
bet.
First rate.
Oh boy.
And he's right up the road from me in Ventura
they're-
and rents
they're-
out sprint cars.
We'll let him talk about it. But
He says he ran
he's
them out?
design-
Yeah, he's got a
he's-
sprint car
he's
like
building
team
a track
classes.
roadster for a
Yeah.
customer.
Oh, yeah, I heard about
Have you
this.
heard? I saw.
I've
he
seen
saw
the brakes.
He showed me. Yes, he's got. So yes. So we'll let that
Yeah,
go
let
because
him
that
go.
we'll let him
That's
tell
his
that
story to tell.
Yeah. So we got a lot of stuff to look forward to.
So why did he cut the Breedlove car in half?
He didn't.
2 different places that had it needed to put it in somewhere, so they disassembled it, cut it in half, brought it inside, and welded it back up.
Yeah. So which is like it's like painting a mustache on the Mona
where it
Lisa
was sitting
or making
for the
it
longest
smaller so it
time
fit on the
while Craig
wall
was
better. It's
still
like, why do you do
alive.
that?
Right.
And Craig wanted it back, and they're like, well, it's been here for 7 years. It's ours now. And it turned into some, I don't have this story technically correct, but it turned into a kerbothel. And it was also.
I like it. I like it.
Write that down.
Okay.
Well, that's the way those
it
cars.
was cut in half and had to get welded
because
back
they're
together.
so huge.
Well, that's what happened to
it-
those cars.
That thing, I was just at the Speedway Museum with my deal, which
Right.
we'll talk about later. Not
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Just there 2 weekends ago, and saw it up close and personal. That car it's not a car. That vehicle is massive.
Yeah.
It's like a
yeah.
city bus.
Oh yeah, it's big.
It is massive.
It's huge. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But it had to be. 'Cause
Sure.
the engine was huge.
Well, there's
yeah.
But that's what
and
happened.
that was 70s technology.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's what,
Although
they've
the what was the English car that the
Oh,
green
yeah,
that drove?
with the 2 thrusters.
Yeah, but that thing was even bigger.
Yeah.
That thing is a huge
it's-
car.
those cars are.
But that was the car.
Again,
that
I'm gonna call it a
did-
vehicle.
that did Sonic Speed of Sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the
Oh, yeah,
museum
yeah,
in
those
Lincoln,
cars, yeah.
Yeah.
they have just the greatest collection of drag racing, Indy cars,
awesome.
sprint car,
Great.
pedal cars, mail lunch boxes.
Speedy Bill was
toys-
Bill was a
toys from
collector.
He was
from
a
the
collector.
50s.
He was a collector.
Yeah,
There's no
but
question.
you
A small carousel.
you're not ready.
Yeah, it's
Was it a
crazy.
Your
Did it have
brain's
Indy
not
cars on
ready.
it?
So our sponsor Bob
Yeah, like a
Florian,
circle track racing.
our sponsor Bob Florian and I were there with it shut down. Personal guided tour,
Nice.
2 days, never saw everything.
I
Yeah.
bet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
bet.
Yeah. So one of the things my
Unbelievable
first tour, I learned something that I tell this story all the
Of
time
this
because I
museum?
was-
You're talking about
of
Speedway
the American
Museum?
Speed Museum.
Okay.
Was one of the curators was walking us through, and here's this pushrod V8 small block Chevy from 1915.
1915. Okay.
15.
Yeah, I got it.
1.5.
1.5.
And I went, whoa. Small block Chevy. He goes, yeah, overhead valve, pushrod, V8,
Right.
1915. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah.
And that they had an
everything
engine.
else they have
That was a
there.
production
Oh,
engine.
yeah.
That was a production
I bet.
engine. And what happened was, the story behind it was, Louis Chevrolet was a racer, right? He was a board track racer
Sure.
until his brother was killed, and then he stopped racing. But he is an innovator. The Chevrolet brothers were innovators, and he brought Chevrolet into General Motors. Durant brought him in, and then flipped it on him because he thought he was going to build high-end cars like Cadillacs.
Right.
And
That's what he wanted to
performance, That's
do,
what he
yeah.
wanted to do.
Right.
And Durant made them the entry-level car.
Yes, he
and
did.
he sold out and ended up nearly a pauper at the end of his
Right.
life, which was
Right.
really sad. But, so there's all this fantastic history
Sure.
that's at that museum. And yeah, you can't see
That's
everything
fabulous.
in 2 days.
Yeah.
And then since they've added it on, I have not been there since they added it on. It's only 3 hours from my house.
no,
I have no excuse. I have
No,
no
you don't.
excuse. But it's a fantastic place. So if you
Does he need
haven't
to
gone, this is a bucket
Yeah.
list. This is a bucket list place.
Well, I'll
If
tell
you're
you
a
what.
Sounds
gearhead,
like
if you're a gearhead,
At
you need to go.
the end of May, to plug it in, at the end of May, I'm almost positive.
Hub Magazine.
Yeah, Wheel Hub
Yeah.
Magazine has their Wheel Hub Live event there. That is the
Huge.
best of the best cars,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Nice. Do they
Invite only.
do they walk through the museum, or are these ones
No,
that are
they're parked
invited?
in the museum, but
They're-
then there's a 100-mile cruise the next day.
Oh, very
Yeah.
cool.
It's really cool, which you can be part of. Just go to Wheel Hub.
Yeah.
It's probably wheelhub.com or wheelhubmagazine.com. But it is an amazing get together, and there's food and there's cruising, and
Nice.
it's all based out of the
which is
museum.
all we need.
And all the
That's right.
cool guys are there.
That's
all the
right.
cool guys
Except
are
us.
there. Well, I'm inviting you.
Okay. Nice.
What do you mean we got to wrap up? We just got started. These people
We're
are
squeezing it in.
We're squeezing. We got
slave
them lined
drivers.
up,
That's right.
right? We got them lined up to
That's
be
right.
on the
Got
show,
them.
right?
That's right. That's right.
We just got started, dude. So we got to do this again.
You got a shotgun, we wouldn't hit anybody.
All right. Well, then
Okay,
you
okay.
do the wrap up, Jeff.
Yes.
Do the job. We want to thank arp-bolts.com, our major sponsor, all our other friends. Keep watching the show and us.
Grand National Roadster Show.
Grand National Roadster Show, of course.
75th anniversary.
75th anniversary.
Hope you
we
were
really
here.
appreciate them letting us do this because this is really a lot of fun.
Yep.
See, we're sitting there in the corner. We're looking at all these cool cars, right? You know,
You
there's
can't see
there's
them.
a 40
Maybe you
Lincoln,
should be here.
Lincoln Zephyr right here. This is neat stuff. So, hey, we'd like to thank our sponsor, arp-bolts.com. We got a fantastic little backdrop here. They make an outstanding series of bolts, almost anything you would need for engines, chassis, things like that. In fact, we were at lunch today, and a guy asked you about the bolt on the back of your shirt, and and I said, well, it's really about a head bolt. They neck the stem down of the bolt on a small block Chevy head bolt, so the clamp load is even across 3 different head bolt lengths on a small block Chevy. And, so that's the kind of technology that you get out of ARP. And we've all got stories on all that stuff.
Well, for a translation of what he said, call arpbolts.com.
But the message is that you can't get any better than that.
No, you cannot.
There you go. We'd like to thank our friends at InTheGarageMedia.com. They have 3 fantastic magazines. They've got Classic Truck Performance. They have Modern Rotting and my favorite, All Chevy Performance with Nick, my buddy Nick,
you're
is the editor.
biased.
So, yes, of course. But it's a fantastic book. They're doing print media, which is, of course, our favorite. So
In
Tangible
color and
magazine.
everything.
in color and everything, and you can get your car on the cover of one of those books, which is
Right.
a fun
that's a
deal.
lot.
Great
Yeah.
tech.
Great
Written
tech.
by you
You know,
and
not
others
always
that are
written by me,
famous
but
people.
Yeah.
Famous people
Not
have written all the
always
tech.
written by me.
That's right.
Just
So
pick it
check
up and
them
read
out
it.
at InTheGarageMedia.com, and they're our friends, and they will thank you. We've been so busy, dude. When was the last
That's
time
right.
we've been together? This is fun. This is
It's
good.
been a while.
Yeah,
been a
because
while.
you moved and left us.
I know. We make
And
fun
it's-
of we
and
make fun of
oddly
your
enough, it was warmer in Iowa when
Yeah.
I left than it was here in California.
Just you wait.
Just one day. It was just one day. Don't worry.
It's like-
there's
It's
like
a
an-
freak
global
thing.
warming's not a thing anyway.
It's like picking a point on the dyno scale when you're what's that spark plug company
E3s.
the E3s. You find that one point
One
on
spot
the
where-
one
it
spot.
worked here.
It worked here, and all the rest of it is like in the gutter. It's like wait a minute. And it's E3 spark plugs. Look,
That's
it's
just what we've heard. Of course, we've never
just
actually
never. No, it's
done this.
based
Tests
on
aren't
no.
proved.
But if you do
based
want
on
to
no
watch
facts.
Jeff Smith's Garage, I think we talked about it at one point.
I think
You
we
know
did
how to do that.
That's
you
right.
know?
And then we talk about
How to
Grand-
lie.
That's another story. That's another
and
story.
Grand
altogether.
Natalie's 0 ohm spark plug wires.
Yeah, they're real noisy.
There you go. And we move on.
So the show, man, this is cool.
Absolutely.
We're actually here
I'm-
on the big day. So
right.
if you hear some background noise, that's
Well,
because
today
we're
is
on the
gonna be
live floor, and there's going to be
Off
packs of
the
people.
hook. Now,
Yeah.
I'm repeating what I think I heard.
Okay.
So at the Grand National Roadster Show, there's how many buildings? 9, 11. 11 buildings?
There's 9 that I know. Well, wait a minute. There's the main building, so I think there's 10.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Suede Palace.
Oh, they don't have a number. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
a lot of buildings.
a lot of
There's a lot of
buildings.
So they're all
Tons
full of
here.
cars, but on Saturday they have a cruise in.
Yeah.
So the whole grounds outside of every door
They're
is
gonna be cruising?
full of hot rods. No, I
Right.
believe 1,500 cars.
Oh,
Really?
easily.
Really?
Easily.
That's what I am pretty sure I heard outside cruised
You
in
bet.
this morning.
You bet.
Yeah.
So it is a picture perfect Southern California
That's right.
day.
It is.
To bring the hot rods out.
70
the
degrees.
75th anniversary.
Yep, yep,
This show today on Saturday is going to be, as they say, off the chain.
It
It's
is
gonna be
alive.
insane.
That's right.
Yeah. Big day.
Yes.
Big day.
That's right. Big day for you too. I mean, you got
Yeah,
so
you got-
many
Yeah,
duties.
I
You
got
got,
a-
you
well-
got your booth,
I've got my display
Yes.
with the Pantera and the Ultima GTR.
right?
And then I've released my
I talked to
new
Lee.
stance
I talked to
brand.
Lee yesterday. Got a
Stance.
full walkthrough on that
Yeah.
car. Yeah, please.
So I've
Stance is
released
cool.
my new clothing brand here
Nice.
in the booth. And there's 2 big awards here. There's many awards, but there's
Right,
2
two
big
big ones.
America's Most Beautiful Roadster, known as Amber.
Amber.
Yep.
And then the Al Slonaker Award, which is
for all of the
Kevin will
cars.
probably
other
cringe,
than,
but it's a design excellence award is
It
what
is.
I look at.
It is.
Yeah.
It is,
in
but
essence.
it is
Easy button.
Amber. That's right. There we go.
Yeah.
Amber is 1948 and older, roadster only.
Right.
So
Sloniker is everything and anything.
Right.
And
Of which we're seeing.
I'm one of the 5 judges for that. And we have,
How many cars?
there's 11 cars this
11
year.
cars.
They're
I think I've
all-
seen them all now.
They're all,
I just photographed
picked
them all.
to be
yeah.
in.
Yeah. Yeah.
so if you're in the room and you're a Sloniker car, it's already an impressive vehicle.
Right.
And
So it's a random deal.
I've got
I mean,
a
you got
35
How many-
Chevy.
how many judges?
I
6.
forget, 5.
Five. Scott's
Five
one
or
of them.
6.
Scott Sullivan.
Scott Sullivan, me,
Right.
Troy Ladd, Chris Brown, and Brian.
Not from ARP, Chris Brown.
Yeah, different.
Not.
Chris Brown.
No, the designer Chris Brown.
Yes.
So, anyway, we've got one of the cars over there is a clean sheet, including the body. VW Thing
Yes.
on a off-road chassis, air-cooled 911 with Porsche 964 all-wheel drive,
Wow.
drivetrain under it.
It's crazy.
Every piece of this thing made from pixie dust. No store-bought anything
Yeah.
except the tires.
And it's
Wow.
good looking. I mean, it's not like I
man,
shot
it's light
photos of
powder
everything.
blue, but it's very,
Yes.
very subtle. If you
just-
didn't know
it
what
just-
you were looking
it,
at,
it looks out of place
it
over
does.
there.
But if you didn't get the tour,
Right.
you'd scratch your head going, "Why is this here?"
Why is
Trust
this
me,
here?
it deserves to be here.
Yeah.
But there are other cars here too. There's the dark
Well, I
blue
just said,
Pantera.
we've got, the
Pantera.
1,000 horsepower at the rear wheel Pantera.
Crazy.
The 35 Chevy, the Pontiac from Andy Leach, which
Yes.
is mind-blowing. That thing.
What
Right.
Pontiac?
It's a like a, sorry, Andy, mid-30s sedan, and
Okay.
they
Right.
fabbed the ugly out of it.
Right.
Okay.
Looks good.
And
That's
it's got
right.
Okay.
it's a 6
Which
to
is-
7,
which
6
is-
to 71 blown Pontiac 400 under the hood.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Cool.
It is.
Very
Go over and stick your head up underneath.
yeah.
Yeah. You can't. There's
It's
guards.
another-
You can't do that.
It's another universe on the underside of the car.
Another universe.
Yeah. The Fairlane
Really?
is cool. The Fairlane's very nice.
Yep. Oh,
That's
the,
different.
the
I saw the
63,
Fairlane.
63
Just real
or
quickly,
4.
I'm walking
Yeah.
away. So.
Yeah.
There's a slathering of some really impressive, like 32 Fords.
There are.
The black one with the Bugatti style wheels, the engine, you have to go look. So it makes our job very interesting.
Right.
And the
So, but
5
this
guys,
is more than just execution, right? It's style,
Everything.
and
Oh,
it's
everything.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
were talking about it
And-
with Troy Ladd. We went through a whole elaborate
Oh,
deal
yeah,
about
we
what
talked
it
about
takes.
it.
Okay.
And
Yep.
putting, clocking the
And-
nuts and it's like
and
crazy.
the 5 of
Yeah.
us actually, we're all builders.
Yeah.
And we all know what we're looking at.
But everybody looks at something a little bit differently.
Right. But when we all care about the outcome of this judging, we discuss it. We have multiple meetings, lest anybody listening to this or listening to this afterwards and you were one of the guys in the competition, nothing is treated lightly.
Right.
Many discussions. And unlike other judging staffs throughout the country of high-end shows, the 5 of us go back over there after the awards are handed out and go,
yeah.
any questions?
Yeah. Really?
In other words, you want to know why you didn't win?
Yeah.
We will
That's
gladly
amazing.
tell you
Yeah.
without sarcasm.
Right.
We'll tell you.
Right.
And the thing is usually when you talk to a builder and you go, blank, because I can tell you right now, we haven't had anybody lose because their car wasn't cool enough.
Right.
Or bitching enough.
Right.
Or we're friends with one of the other builders. The car that won had the least amount of mistakes.
Yeah.
And the cars that don't, when we approach and we talk to the owners of the car
Right.
or the builders of the car, and we're like, this is a 1/4 inch off from side to side on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not, we don't think it's cool enough. That's take a tape measure. It's not
Do
right.
you actually do that? Do you actually take
we
tape
don't
measures
do
too?
that, but we get really close.
Really close. Okay.
And
Because
so
visually you can see.
we
you
will
can see things.
gladly
Yeah.
defend our position because it's not a position of my opinion.
Yeah.
It's that paint isn't polished. There's a dry spot up there. This has got a dimple in it. that it's a factual discussion.
Right.
It's not,
Right.
I think his car is cooler than your car.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And since we judge that way, we will walk back into that building after the awards, and we've had people, because there's a lot of money, a lot of ego going on.
Boy. Yeah. Oh, boy.
People get really steamed.
Yep.
I've had people accuse me and Troy Ladd stating the reason their car didn't win, not stating, suggesting that one of the reasons why their car didn't win is because, quote, you had two stupid TV celebrities judging.
Oh,
I hate
boy.
to tell you, but Troy has won Trendsetter of the Year at SEMA and has won more awards than you ever will.
Right.
And you know who you are.
That's right. And your resume
Which I'm
is
going to get in
amazing.
trouble for exposing this.
That's good.
But I took that kind of personal. It's like, and I've won many major awards.
Right.
I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And
You
your
bet.
car, we all loved it. I'm just going to, I know Kevin and John are freaking out that I'm saying this over the mic. We loved
It's
the
a
car.
confession.
We had no
It's a
problem
confession.
with the car. The car wasn't as good
Right.
as the one that won.
So like Jack Chisholm.
And they got so bent, they wouldn't let us explain why we thought A
Wow.
was B.
Ego
They
got
told
away.
us to quote, fuck you,
Yeah.
walked
Ego-
away.
ego got
It's
away.
like,
Yeah.
dude,
That's
Yeah.
rough.
we don't have a problem.
But that's
we
the-
love your car.
Yeah.
It
So-
just
so-
wasn't as good as the other
You
one.
got to
So I got
understand
a
what
question.
judging
So-
is.
So I'm sorry, bro. I loved your car. I was pumping for it, but it had things
Right.
that the other car did not. It's that simple. It's not personal.
Yeah.
But thanks for making it personal.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
not a TV celebrity. I only play one on TV.
That's right. But
So
plays,
in
he
the
plays
case of
doctor,
Jack,
though.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
right. Go ahead.
In the case
Am
of
I
Jack
done
Chisholm.
venting now?
No, it's
Yes,
good. I like
yes.
it.
Thank you.
So in the case of Jack Chisholm's car, right? The one that won it, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
familiar. Lovely car.
Oh, spectacular car. So he went to the level of casting his own aluminum cylinder heads
Yeah.
for that old Hemi. Now, how much does that
car.
play into
Right.
that?
Well,
Because
problem
because
is-
some people are going to
the
go.
problem is, I can't answer that because that is an Amber Judge question.
Okay, and you're not an Amber judge,
But if his car was a coupe and it was in Sloniker,
right,
that's definitely impressive. And that goes into our brain for
As-
not only
right.
overall winner,
Because he
but
went to the
maybe
effort.
it raises his bar to get best engineered.
Right.
okay,
That's right.
Because so you have separate categories.
Yeah, I'm sure they're looking at all
for
kinds
yes,
of
the
we do.
overall thing. Okay,
Right.
okay.
There's
so it's
overall-
not just the overall thing,
There's
but there's
overall, and
categories
then there's
within it.
best paint,
Right.
interior, undercarriage, engine, display. I said interior, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's those five.
All right,
Oh, and detail.
Right.
And that gets
that gets probably a lot of
confusing.
attention, doesn't it?
that gets confusing.
Because they're not equally weighted, are they?
All five of us. Yesterday, we had a discussion of what does detail mean to us.
Right.
What is our baseline of the
Sure.
definition detail
Yeah,
Yeah.
define this. Yeah,
Yeah.
for us?
you bet.
So we are on the same page of what we're considering to be
right.
detail.
Yeah.
Is it no lint?
Right.
And then ultimately, whole thing is subjective.
Yes. There's a certain
It
amount
is
of that.
subjective, but
Yes.
that's what I was trying to
It's
state
very personal.
at the beginning of my psychotic little rant here. Was we tried
Which we liked.
really
Yes.
hard
Right.
to base it on fact. The
Right.
fit and finish is there. The execution of the theme is there.
Yeah.
The engineering is there. Right?
Right.
You can get into cool, not cool, bitchin', not bitchin'. That starts getting subjective.
Yeah.
But
Right.
so how I judge, example, 1 year Troy Ladd was not judging because he had a car, a 3-window coupe in competition.
Right.
And he was getting some heat from a friend who became a friend of ours. His name is Buddy. He brought
The elf.
he bought the Volkswagen Bug.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, when everybody in Building 4 is talking about the Volkswagen in Building 5.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the way it is with the Thing. The
When
Thing
I'm
has gotten
walking
that kind of
around and I
notoriety.
bump into Bobby Alloway, who's an amazing
He's
builder
awesome.
in his own
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
and he's an Amber judge, and he goes, hey, we better hope that Volkswagen boy doesn't start building hot rods and muscle cars. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah, no kidding.
So this Volkswagen is very impressive.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Ladd was coming up to me going, man, that thing's making me sweat. And I go, it should.
That's right. Well, I have a question for you.
Well, let me finish
Yeah.
this thought.
Okay,
Hold on to that.
Sure. Yeah, you got
So
it.
when we were up discussing overall, and those two were basically it, Troy's and the Volkswagen, I said, here's how I see it. Clearly, they're both phenomenal cars. That's why they're in this discussion for the big award. I go on the amount of engineering and workload to create the thing in front of us,
Right.
and then how well every piece of that was perfected, painted, plated, assembled,
You bet.
gapped.
You bet.
And Buddy's Volkswagen, I used to road race at Carmen Ghia. Buddy's Volkswagen.
I've heard about that.
I know how shitty Volkswagen panels are.
Yeah, I bet.
So Buddy's Volkswagen is beyond impressive in fit and finish.
Yeah, so
but the
that's
truth of the matter is he had a highly modified, extremely perfected Volkswagen floor pan.
Yeah.
Highly modified,
Right.
extremely perfected.
Yes.
Troy Ladd's car, the frame was made on a Polmax
Oh, boy.
from nothing. He didn't even start with frame rails.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, he
made
made
the
it
rails.
everything. Made
Then
everything.
he made the suspension.
that's why
so
he ends
the
up with the-
workload in engineering
It's huge.
way
Yeah.
more
Oh, yeah.
than the other,
Yeah.
even though to
Yeah.
the eye they're both
That's right.
beautifully
Well, isn't that
put together
kind of like
cars.
Yeah.
Troy's car that was here last year is now here again in the Amber?
Yeah.
Yes.
What did he tell us? He said the only things he didn't
tires,
the tires and the engine block. I think
engine block. Yeah,
was,
Okay.
something like
It's all-
that.
it's- it's all-
everything
it's all
else,
handmade.
everything else was handmade.
That's
So-
amazing. Well, here's my
so
question.
that's how I look
Quick.
at the
Here's-
cars. All
yeah.
the workload,
Right.
engineering, and then the perfection of it.
Right. Well, here's my question to you. I'm the lead judge for hot rods at the San Marino Concours, which is actually a pretty big deal.
Right.
And,
Wow.
and I had a bunch of really, Wade Kawasaki was one of my judges.
Yeah.
So I worked
Yeah.
with these guys. And we had, the last 2 years, we had Chip Foose was an entry, and we had Bruce Meyer was an entry. Bruce came in third.
Really?
Completely accepted the award because he looked at the other two cars and he goes,
Well, he's
There you go.
realistic.
he's realistic.
yeah.
So my
Yeah.
question is, don't you get a lot of that too?
Yeah.
That say,
I get
Foose's
people who
grill was dirty,
understand.
so I was like, I can't give it.
I get
to you.
people. We
Then
get
I give it
people
to
who
Kugel,
understand.
the son.
Okay.
So anyway,
When you bring a super, super nice car in, and it's clear, like again, I tell all the owners, if you're in this room, we already know you have a really nice car.
yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
You don't gotta.
You're not gonna have junk.
You don't gotta peacock. We got it. We already
Yeah.
know you got a really nice
It's
car.
easy from there. Okay.
Right.
All right.
You brought it in.
He told me to.
Okay. Time to go. Time to go.
Time to
All right,
go.
All right.
I'm sorry.
There's people
No, it's
lining up,
good. This was good. It was just good stuff. I mean,
yeah.
They're getting
especially
out the
germane to what
pitchfork,
we're
so I
talking.
guess we got to go.
And the torches.
That's
The
right.
Just like in Frankenstein, fire bad.
That's gonna make espresso.
All right. We want to thank our sponsor, ARP-Bolts.com. We want to thank the guys at the Grand National Roadster Show here for helping us, let us, put this little cubby hole up
75th.
here.
Are we coming for?
75th.
Are we coming for 76?
Absolutely.
You think we're gonna make it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I think I start walking.
I think we're done.
I'll have to walk
Stick a
from
fork
there.
in it. Anyway.
So anyway, thanks for watching. And if you like what we're doing here, keep watching, and we'll keep telling you stories.